good evening. Thanks for joining us on the very first episode of Hop Talks, a podcast by Optimum Exposures. I am Jay, and today I'm joined by the General Manager and Head of Business of Optimum Exposures, Mr. Anthony Nwabuisi. Good day, sir. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much, Jay.
We're delving right into what 2024 holds for the marketing space and in relation to the OOH landscape. But looking at everything that has happened in 2023 and now projecting into 2024, this is like the leap year where a lot of brands are going to try to recover from the downtimes. Do you see for 2023 in comparison to 2024?
It's expected to be quite busy, but personally, I have my own fears because if I take us back a little bit to the initial projections from various trend surveys, we looked at when we broke into 2023. It was an election, the year before elections is usually called an election year. So the elections came, Feb, and all of that. But then there was slow offtake in terms of how advertisers responded, with their various, activities. There were a lot of uncertainty as at the time. And so not many marketing or brand owners, were quick to start, pushing out their campaigns because even there were a lot of unrest that came from after the elections. I think there was a projection of about 32 billion for out of home and a total of somewhere in the region of about 142 billion for the entire marketing advertising spend. And this brings in all the other touch points. So you talk TV, radio, out of home, digital, print, and new media, if you like, projected to be somewhere around 142 billion. And this is according to TMKG. Report that we all worked with, but I can tell you for free, by the end of quarter 3 there had been a readjustment and that sort of reduced spend because a lot of advertisers cut back because the economy wasn't really trending along the lines of what was initially projected. This year it's turned out to be the same. We can see that inflation is somewhere around 28.9% as of today. The Nigerian GDP is expected to close out at 3.1%. Exit 2024, where we were as last year, we closed out at 2.9% in terms of GDP. So what that definitely means is that brands and marketers will probably stay actioned, and you can see with a lot of the exits that happened last year with a lot of the multinationals that exited the country. That again will sort of create and instill a little bit of cautiousness in the way marketers and the entire market would sort of approach and marketing activities this year. There's a little bit of positive because what would then happen is that there will be high demand for innovation and creativity. A lot of marketing directors will be asking for real innovation. So to conclude this intro, what I see is a mix of both expectations. First, the budget will most likely stay the same. Some of the early reports that have come out have just sort of shown that there will be some sort of a growth, but it's going to be very marginal. What will happen is that there will be what I like to call a readjustment along the touchlines. So this is what will happen. Traditional media will witness what we call an internal drop or dip in spend. The traffic of that budget will be going to digital marketing. One of the reasons why that is digital marketing is quicker, is easier, it's cheaper, it's very measurable, and delivers more experiences and more personalization compared to traditional channels that are still a little bit very traditional, even in the data set. Out of home is going to take the biggest hit because most of the spend from out of home will be moving towards digital marketing. There will be some sort of good news for our guys who are in the digital marketing space. That's from my perspective, what I see happening and playing out 2024.
What I pick from that is that for the players in the industry this year, it is innovate or pack, whereby brands will no longer be just generic putting out things. They're going to speak to the specific touch points. By the time we see materials, be it on OOH, be it on radio or whatever the channel is, the audience are going to feel like, they're speaking to me. We're already seeing that happen across AI and data analytics, already impacting that.
So let me take that off from what the former chairman of GE, Jack Welch, had said, that if the change on the outside of your business environment is faster than the change that is happening on the inside of your company, the end is near for your business because consumers are evolving. If you take the Nigerian audience, for example, that is made of about 70% is made up about the youth market. And you'll find that a lot of the contributors to that space are actually Gen Zs, and the Gen Alphas are coming right behind the Gen Zs. These guys think differently, right? They want to see themselves in the brands, and when we do proper communications and brand structure and architecture, you will find that a lot of brands still are missing it, because it all comes down to personalization. And that is exactly what delivers experiences. For out of home especially, it's somewhat touted to be like a signpost. Because I've heard that a couple of times at conferences and meetings with clients. You hear they say, out of home still has that signpost cliche. You really can't measure. It's like a black hole, and just sort of sinking money into something we really can't track and measure.
Like the byproduct of the marketing plan.
Absolutely. But one touch point that is not going anywhere anytime soon is the out of home medium, because we still spend about 65 to 70% of our life outside of our home. In terms of personalization, it comes down to it, to be honest, because even the way out of home for static channels, need to now look. Copies have got to communicate clearly to the needs. Have got to resonate with the target audience, such that when they see it first and they get the message, they connect with it. It creates some sort of an experience for them. And in that way, you then would have a stronger value coming out of that, that creative. The visuals have just got to be right. The visuals have just got to connect. Digital makes it a lot better. When you talk about global advertising group, so Talon is just one of them. It's just up there, right? Absolutely. Deployed Ada. Ada is a platform that helps them programmatically buy and use their channels. And when you talk programmatic digital out of home, you're talking digital channels. So think of it like the way you use Google publishers or other networks on Google's platform. Create, so you filter by interest, you filter by age, you filter by location, and then you create a campaign that revolves around that particular target audience. That's exactly what Talon, they've been able to do on the out-of-home space.
So they've been able to build an ecosystem that interacts with the target audience in a very deep way.
Absolutely, and they've used technology. So technology is the game changer that takes you from here to that point where you can then personalize using out-of-home channel to create experiences for target audiences. Yeah.
And talking of technology playing a big role, I think something that's really blew out in 2023 is AI integration into marketing. What role do you see AI playing in marketing in 2024?
A couple of analysts, or if you like, say, operators and practitioners are already saying that we are in the fifth industrial revolution, which is actually the AI age. We're actually in the artificial intelligence age. People have argued that this industrial age is probably not going to be overtaken by anything else, because AI has just sort of removed the human factor in almost everything. It's quite intriguing what AI can do. Yes, it will be integrated to a very good degree, but I still feel, in my opinion, that the human element in advertising will not be replaced anytime soon by AI and robotics. But then again, it's similar to when we had COVID and there was lack of human interaction, and people craved for human interaction, and people had all of those type of conversations.
Yeah, and I share that sentiment that beyond whatever AI can do, that human factor would still be there. Brands are going to be more responsible, and that's because the target audience would be looking out for which of these brands reacted when this happened, which of these brands cares about my worries. So it's something that we're going to see in 2024, that even marketing managers are going to demand it of their agencies and their marketers to say, hey, let's not just create about the product, let's do more campaigns that talk about what the people are going through.
Ethical marketing is basically first and foremost doing what is right. So you're a cigarette brand, you don't want to be close to a primary or secondary school. You're an alcoholic beverage, you try to avoid a hospital, you're a brand custodian. You must respect these fundamental rules that exist in this business. So ethical marketing is important. If you cast back your mind a little bit to what happened during COVID, you would find that almost every top brand wanted a piece of it to contribute, to show that they are part of they feel the plight of the average consumer. And globally, this happened globally. And locally here, we saw brands, the bank, the financial institutions, especially predominantly the banks, came together. They did a contribution to COVID, if you remembered. you can almost liken that to CSR, corporate social responsibility. You want to ensure that the public or the people within that community benefits from you as a brand, right? In 2024, yes, today's consumers will demand more and hold businesses to account. Yeah.
Yes, and another way this is going to happen, using the Momizi as a case study, is this is going to involve what the industry terms an influencer. For Momizi, she didn't have to build followers. It took just one tweet. It took just one tweet. So in 2024, brands are going to want to leverage on such opportunities so that you will start to see influencers will no longer hide behind lenses and screens anymore. They're going to be real life people that you can connect with. So we will be able to see them more on the field. It's not just you on a poster on a billboard somewhere.
And so you're talking about influencers, right?
Yes.
So when you talk about influencers, there's a difference in being an influencer than just having followers. When you talk about influencer marketing, it cuts across first and foremostly various touch points, various channels, right? A lot of people think that influencers are only the guys who have huge following on the online digital space. No. Influencers cut across even TV,
yes,
radio,
yes,
and of course the digital channels, and even every other offline channel like you have. The question has always been, how much of your followers can you convert
for the brand,
or for that particular campaign, or for that particular post or push, right? So having likes and shares and comments doesn't necessarily translate to conversion for the brand. Debbie actually moved from about 389 followers. She's somewhere in the region of about 186,000 plus followers on X. And as we speak, she's become an influencer. And for me, I think the influencer marketing space, or part of the marketing communications mix, is still a very effective channel to the mix, and will continue to grow. But I think what needs to be said is how the role Akon plays in all of this. I think Akon had communicated strongly that they were going to be, monitoring and looking at the digital space, especially in the influencer marketing advertising space. That would come up strongly, because I think Akon is not going to say that and go back into so they're going to push and continue to try to sanitize or regulate, if you like. I think that's a better word to use. Regulate what these influencers put out there, because a lot of Nigerians have been caught in a very wrong web with these different various brands that are online. Yeah.
So, it's been a very good conversation, but we cannot end this without talking about what would really drive the most return for brands, and that is experiences. A lot of what I saw right from 2023 and coming into 2024 is, I can really liken it to the saying that people will forget what you said.
Forget how you make them feel.
How you made them feel.
Scroll down.
Brands that were able to deliver experiences
that are measurable. Hold on. One thing is to deliver experiences, and another thing is to deliver measurable experiences. For Optimum Exposures, for example, the purpose of our business is basically to help brands make measurable connections, and that's influencing even in the people we hire, because we know that research, data, technology have become really critical to what our business and our industry has morphed into. And Talon, again, is a reference point for me. I will always say Talon, like the hub by Optimum Exposures, where we combine the insights around the consumer at every touch point. We also look at the environment where that consumer is. We look at the brand positioning and what the brand intends to achieve. Create not just solutions, but create products. Today we're talking about mobile integration, or interacting with the digital screens, right? First, you create the connection, you trigger the action, and then you track it back. Absolutely. Is the conversation.
I think later on this podcast we'll need to bring you back to discuss this. There's just misconception of just put something, let them see. That only utilizes one sensory organ, which is sight.
I think it's where our industry is going. We're not there yet. Innovation plays a very big role in all of that. Tech, creative thinking, deep insights, solid research. These are the variables. But I still think it is doable. We've started seeing that happen in our industry. Alpha and Jam, I think, launched a very solid 3D product at Murtala Airport, and that again is what we're talking about.
That's the most we can take on this.
I hope you just know that my money is growing in your hand.
Of course.
My bill is growing.
Definitely. I'll send the bill to your office. That's the most we can take on
Thank you very much for having me.
HubSpot. Don't forget to like, click, and share this to your friends. Let's have the most exciting marketing, communications, conversations. Thank you again, Mr. Anthony, the manager and head of business at Optimum Exposures. Until that next time, until my money is complete. See you next time.
Thank you for having me here. Cheers.